got to somehow get in field goal range.
Hey, 10. They might man you up. I'm saying go outside and come back in like you're running a route outside. That way when you come back in, I can get in the way.
They actually have a chance to get Hunter in field goal range here.
Hey. They're playing like that. That seam is open.
8 seconds left, down 3.
It's going to be a 40-yard attempt.
Come on.
What's good, Chiefs Kingdom? It's Tuesday. It's 6 o'clock Kingdom time. You know what that means. It's a special championship edition episode of Chiefs Kingdom Live. So glad you could join us. We want to thank NFL Films and Paramount and whoever else owns the rights to that video that you just saw.
Appreciate it.
Non-courtesy of them, bringing you the Travis Kelce orchestrating the game-tying drive there, which we'll get into and talk about, I'm sure, at some point in this episode. But if you're joining us for the first time, or if you haven't already done it, go ahead and do us a favor. Click that like button. Click that subscribe button. Helps us out a lot. Doesn't cost anything, and it well, like I said, it'll help the show out. We would tremendously appreciate all the help we can get here growing the show. Follow us on our social media platforms, Chiefs Kingdom Live, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think there's a Twitch out there too for maybe we've got some gamer folks out there that like to use the Twitch platform. So I don't even know where to begin. Like it's that game almost leaves you speechless. Fellas, how are you feeling since Sunday? About what time was that game over? About 8:30.
Yeah.
I don't even remember, man. Yeah, 8:30, 9 o'clock.
What a game. I kind of blacked out. What happened there? What happened? I'm still reeling, man.
Did we win?
I mean, my voice is still trashed.
It's been going in and out for me as well. Just we're gonna break that. We're gonna relive all the glory that was Chiefs Bills AFC Divisional Round game. We'll also do a sneak peek ahead here, and we'll look at the matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals for the AFC Championship record, 4th year in a row hosting the championship game at Arrowhead Stadium. Chance to go to back Super Bowls, represent the AFC 3 years straight. It's like
what?
Yeah. What?
Did you just say that sentence? Is that real?
Yeah. No. When you say it out loud, you almost like it doesn't even sound like that could be true. But there's the man right there with the catch of I did the biggest catch in the biggest game. We'll talk about that too, and how long? Who knows? Just so much fun.
You guys were there.
And for Chiefs fans like us who have been around for so long. And just to be devoid of all these games and Arrowhead and the playoff nightmares of Lynn Elliott and the no punt game and the Mariota touchdown to himself, it's just come back around, and all that pain, we're being repaid, it feels like 100-fold for all those heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, soul-crushing losses and disappointment. Just absolutely crazy. That game was like if a game could be on crack and taking steroids at the same time. I don't know. I've seen other fan bases and fans of other teams too, and experts or media, national analysts, people that aren't homers, don't have a stake in the game like we do as fans, call that one of the greatest games ever played.
I I was watching a podcast by two comedians who admittedly don't really like follow football, and they spent 20, 30 minutes talking about that game and how epic it was. I mean, like, yeah, it's just kind of, going through circles that normally don't even pay attention to the NFL. Oh, yeah. Sorry to interrupt you there, buddy.
No, you're fine. No, yeah, no, Nick, I mean, the you're always wanting to say, oh, that's the greatest game ever. But we talked about this on the way out of the stadium while we were waiting to get out of the parking lot, man. Like,
which one's better? Tell me one. Just tell me one where you're like, oh, that's definitively a better game in there. It just like we did talk about that on the way out after we all just like one of the things that Mom said, our mom after she did the rewatch yesterday on NFL Network, and she's like, just there were so many fans that were still in the stadium like well after the game was over. And I was like, I mean, we'll talk about the overtime rules and stuff, but like that game, nobody wanted that feeling that game to be over. Like if they were still playing that game, like we'd probably still be happy. Like we'd be like, dude, yeah, let's just keep doing it. And we were walking out, and like maybe like in Arrowhead history, the 24-point comeback, but that was only that level of emotion for the second quarter for like 10 minutes, because that's how long it took Patrick to come back, right? And it was like the same. I mean, like Scott tweeted out on the Kingdom Chiefs Kingdom Live Twitter account, the video that I took. Sorry for the really shitty camera work, but when you're jumping up and down and like you're like freaking out, it's kind of hard to
strangers hugging you, pouring beer on you,
like hype level infinity, and like that is exactly how that felt. Like just, I mean, everybody was feeling it. I mean, you had like Mahomes' wife / girlfriend, like champagne pop in the crowd. Like you had, dude, like strangers hugging each other. I mean, like the people next to us, we had no idea. Like they were super chill, awesome, great Chiefs fans, but like we didn't know them from anybody else. And after the game, both of them were like, "Hey man, we got to get pictures with you guys. Like we've got to like remember this moment." And like the people that sat next to you were part of that moment. And so I just, if that's not the best game ever, like, I mean, it's got to be tied. I mean, it just doesn't get any more epic than that. So
completely. We could certainly talk about, I know two games that come to mind that I think we could talk about, but man, that's right up there with them. Probably would top that for being the greatest game of like all time, especially in Chiefs history. Like I can think of another game in Chiefs history, especially where that was pretty similar, very similar situation, and we got the short end of the stick. But you're hearing a lot of that online right now, all the trash talk about the overtime rules and everything like that. I mean, we've been victim to it. That happened to us 3 years ago, 4 years ago, the exact same scenario. We even tried to petition to get the rules changed. Everybody said no, including the Bills. Like specifically the Bills were kind of like, yeah, no, we're good. So, I mean, everybody kind of knew the rules going into it. I don't think it was that big of a surprise. So like the amount of just chatter out there about that thing, kind of, it's funny to listen to that when you're just like, yeah, been there, done that. Let's go. Next one up.
Yeah, I really don't want to talk about the overtime rules. They are what they are. Two things about that, just real quick, since it's been brought up. One, when the Chiefs were petitioning to change the rule, or they brought the discussion to the table about changing the rule after that championship game against the Patriots. I was like, that would be the most Chiefs thing ever if they did that and then ended up screwing us down the road somehow. So I was not for it then, and I'm not for it now because I feel it adds a level of drama and excitement and almost like danger to the game, to the overtime. And I get the idea and the point that people want to say, well, every other sport, both teams get to, possess the ball and have a chance. And could you imagine if you had a baseball game that had an extra inning and one team, got to bat and the other didn't? And basketball, that they play 10 minutes and both teams get possessions and have a chance. But first of all, football is not any of those other sports, and it's better than those sports, and it's different and it's unique. And I don't. What are you gonna do? Like, but now the Bills have a chance to go down and score a touchdown too. I just
And now
don't.
that's tied again, right?
Right, and the tie, and then what happens? Like, the Chiefs get
They
the
go
ball,
for
they're
two
going
and
to
they
score a
win.
touchdown because then you got people saying, "Oh, the Chiefs got the ball twice and the Bills got the ball once." Like, I just no, just leave it the way it is.
Yeah, dude. I echo your feelings exactly, man. Like I feel it that exact same way. But I also feel like that there is something missing there, right? Like because I felt that in 2018. Like I did, come to grips. Like that is what it is. Next year, let's do this, and they did it. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of the mentality I hope the Bills can adapt. But as far as like it happening to us, we did it. I kind of lost my train of thought there. I'm just really excited about. But like no, the rule change. It does feel like something's missing, right? It does feel like, somebody got gypped out of there. But as AJ Hawk was pointing out on the Pat McAfee show, like it used to just be field goal sudden death, right? And like that was people would get even more mad at that, like, oh, you lost up to a field goal, like you only had to go 20-something yards. So they changed it.
I agreed with the change.
Right, and I did too. I feel like it actually improved the overtime, right? So I just feel like there needs to be like maybe a committee or some kind of thought behind it because I feel like there is something missing. And there might be able to be some improvement there. But like as far as like drafting completely new rules or going to like college rules or something like that, that's kind of ridiculous.
I really get frustrated when I hear, well, the game just comes down to a coin flip. And it's like you hear that from all the talking heads ad nauseum. It comes down to a coin flip. It was a coin flip. Dude, like, I don't know. I was there, and I didn't hear the ref say that after Josh Allen lost the coin toss that the game was over and the Chiefs won.
No.
Right. I'm pretty sure I watched a couple plays happen.
I mean, like, and I think it was Acho was talking about parity. We had 11 people on the field. They had 11 people on the field. Parity, right? Like the Chiefs, when we lost that AFC Championship game, let Tom Brady convert 3 3rd and 10s, and they let him get a touchdown, and we lost the game because we didn't get a stop, not because of a coin flip. Would we have won if the coin flip had gone the other way? I mean, potentially, but like it's not like the game is decided by a coin flip. And I know that they're saying, well, the teams that win the toss, they won like 10 out of 11 games, and I guess maybe it's a slightly unfair, but it's still a 50-50 shot that, one team gets the ball and the other doesn't. So, I mean, I
don't know. I saw a stat about since they've gone to that rule maybe or the last 5 seasons, and this maybe included regular season games, it was only like 20% of the games ended in a touchdown on the opening drive. So It's not like it's like an 80% slam dunk. You lose the coin toss, it's over. And again, it's been irritating me hearing this all week, so I don't want to sit here and just beat a dead horse and talk about the overtime rule.
I think we all agree at the end of the day, the game's got to get decided somehow, right? Like you just can't sit there and have Mahomes and Josh Allen racking up on that pace. What would be like?
What are you going to do when somebody gets hurt and then their team wins, and then it's like, yeah, but now like Josh Allen doesn't play in the AFC Championship game because we changed the rules and he played for 25 extra minutes.
Right. Exactly.
It's fine the way it is. I'm good with them leaving it, and I think ultimately that's what they'll end up doing because
the rules is the rules, man. Like there's other rules that they should be looking at changing before they get to that one. There's plenty of other rules that like are crap that need to go away. Like I'm sure we'll talk about. We could just move on to cheetah and the taunting rule, and a lot of people are upset about that. But I mean, that's a garbage rule. Like I understand. You don't want players standing over people and doing certain things that are over the top. But
to make a rule that you can't just stand over somebody, but taunting, you're not going to taunt that's too open to interpretation.
Right.
That's too subjective.
Completely.
It's dumb. Okay, if you want to make rules about you can't stand over a person, you can't things like that, I'm fine with. But yeah, I want us to move on from. I don't want to sit here and talk about overtime, like because all of a sudden it's fucking irritating me all week. Listen to people bitch about it. Now here we are.
We're getting all that frustrating stuff on because there's so much good stuff to talk about
right.
this game.
Right.
I mean,
So,
this is stuff that people are bringing up. You know what I mean? Might as well address it, get our points of view on
Woosah,
it.
Scotty. Woosah.
what's that?
I said woosah, Scotty. Woosah.
Yeah. So the game starts out, the Chiefs deferred, Bills march right down the field, score a touchdown. How are you guys feeling at that point?
You know what? The first thought in my head was like, well, Scott was right because we did like a bet, right? A prop bet, and you said that the Bills would actually go down and score first. And I was just like, maybe that makes sense, and it happened. So I mean, I wasn't too worried about it. I mean,
No.
a lot of football. They put together a really precise drive, though. That was a little worrisome. You know what I mean? Like they looked really good. They looked good all game. Let's get real. But that first drive, they looked really fantastic. They kind of almost looked unstoppable. I was a little worried, but again, what we were texting, I think the comment text was a lot of time left, a lot of football to be played.
Yeah, no, there was. Nick, how did you feel after that opening kind of, I'm not going to say it was a haymaker by the Bills, but I mean, it was a solid body shot.
Jab to the face.
Firing, and they moved the ball. Now, they did convert a fourth down on that drive, a fourth and short. So the defense, they weren't getting carved up for 8-9 yards on every play, and the Bills weren't getting first downs on first and second down every set of downs. But it was a pretty methodical, it looked pretty effortless too, the way they marched right down and scored that touchdown.
Leading up to the game, I was fairly nervous about it, and then like the day before the game, I just was like, "Oh, we got the guys. We're gonna do it." Then they scored that touchdown, and really what my thought was is like, okay, this is like actually going to be a real game. I think this game is going to live up to the hype because there's been a lot of talk about the Bills being kind of like a roller coaster team where they'll like be like on top of the world and then they'll like be inept and Josh Allen will be, unable to hit people with, passes and stuff. So that was my thought was like, first was, well, we got to go answer. And I'm sure that like Patrick, getting a punch in the mouth early is a good thing because he'll come out and be on fire, which the Chiefs were on the next drive. And then the second thing was like, okay, like, dude, like we're going to have a game. That was what I actually was thinking when that happened.
Yeah.
How were you feeling, Scott? How were you feeling when they ran it in?
You know what? I'm not going to lie. If I was the Chiefs, and maybe this goes against everything that you've done for the last several years and has worked for you, maybe it would have been the wrong decision. I kind of wanted to get the ball first and score first because, to me, if you get into a back-and-forth slugfest where you're scoring and scoring and scoring, to jump out and get that initial points, I think would help. But I wasn't worried. I didn't think the game was over or anything, but the other team gets out in front. And now you're playing catch up, right? But they score. Now you score. They score again. You got to score to keep up. To me, like you're giving them a head start in a race, in a sense. A team like that with that kind of offense. But then the defense comes out. They get a couple stops. Kind of a mental error to let the ball land at the 20, then roll all the way down to the 1 yard line and get down. How many times have we seen players on this team fair catch a punt at the 5 yard line? Then at the 20 yard line, they don't fair catch it.
Let it go. Yeah.
So that was kind of, man. And then Pringle has the drop. And so then the Chiefs have to punt from right in their own end zone. Field position is flopped a little bit, but then the defense gets the ball back, and we, for the offense, gets a stop. We get the ball, we score. Now we've got the lead. Now they're playing catch up, and the Chiefs held on to the lead at that point, all the way until the end of the first half when Buffalo got a quick touchdown drive there with very little time remaining to go into halftime. Chiefs missed a field goal. Exciting first half, close. It was kind of like an omen or sign of things to come in the second half.
Right.
Overall thoughts on how the first half went?
I know what you're saying about that mentality about trying to go up first, but I don't know how big of a mental hurdle that is compared to, okay, we have this game It's been a slugfest for the first 2 quarters. You know what I mean? Like there's been brutal misses. There's been great makes. Patrick Mahomes is running all over the team. You know what I mean? Is it a bigger mental hurdle to, you know, come back 7 points with all these guys? Or if you're the Bills, like, oh man, they get the ball to start off the second half and like they're playing catch up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I know what you're saying. I agree with you because there's been a couple of games where I wish we would have done that too, but I was fine with it this game, especially at home. That stadium was rocking. Yeah. I was surprised that like way more false starts didn't get called because they definitely happened. I saw them happen, but they just didn't get called. I was surprised that didn't happen because of the crowd noise, but I know what you're saying.
I mean, I like deferring, even if you're playing a good team, because it kind of puts it out there, first of all, that you're like, I mean, I'm not scared of you. Go ahead and get the ball. And, you know, the second thing is that it is so valuable to be able to have that potential to get points right at the end of the half and then get the ball back to score again to start the second half. If the Chiefs do that, I mean, it's if Butker doesn't miss that field goal there, like the entire complexity of the second half, I think, is different. You know, we can go out, we can score. Now we're up 10 earlier, right? And you know, you can't sit there and say that like the entire
it would have been 3 points though at halftime.
Do what?
It would have been a 3-point lead at halftime, not 10. Though.
But what I'm saying is,
we get the ball back,
half, we can score a touchdown and we're up 10.
Yeah.
So I just think that advantage there, or that potential advantage, is so great to be able to do that. That I like deferring, but I it's a fair point, right? Like you know, you want to get out there and draw first blood, right? And so I mean, I don't know. We won, so I guess there's that, but we didn't
Scott,
win. You got the ball first. I don't think so.
Sorry, Nick. No. Scott, you were kind of like hypercritical of Mahomes not running too much during the regular season, man. He kind of threw that out the window this game on that opening drive, huh? How did you feel about him just torching?
Oh, dude, you know I was loving every second of that. I was just like, tuck it and run, tuck it and
I can hear your voice in my head when he's like at that halfway point, like throw it or run. I can just hear you go, tuck it and run, tuck it and run.
Right. When the pocket's breaking down and you can get yards, man, go get him. Go get him. And the dude's got wheels, okay? He doesn't look that fast, but he's fast.
Was that not the fastest you probably had seen him run in his career?
Yeah.
That 40-yard run or whatever it was?
I think he had like a 35, 40-yard run, and there was a defensive back that had an angle on him, and he outran that guy on that play. He was pulling away, and that guy didn't catch up to him and make the tackle until he started slowing down because the safety who had put him playing deep came up, and, you know, there's no need. You've already got a big gain. You don't need to prove that you're a badass. You don't need to risk getting hurt. So he slowed down and slid, and the guy kind of touched him down or whatever. But, yeah, he was like
I'll do it myself.
He out Josh Allen in that game overall. He outrushed him by a yard on less rushes.
So, I mean, but then he did it again 2 plays later, dude. Ran it in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Diving for the pylon. Just like
and it wasn't an easy run. He deked a guy out, right? I mean,
the
guy had him. There's no way he should have been able to get to the sideline, but I don't know. I don't know if it was a pump fake or if it was like he faked like he was going to cut inside, but he got that guy's momentum going the other way and then just clowned him. And then
it was
for the end zone.
Play for the touchdown. It was
like that Arrowhead off. The sound on TV, like it just sounded like the weirdest, like crackle, like white noise. You know what I mean? But you could just tell it was like the whole stadium going nuts.
I mean, and just like getting there and the way he's got the ball in his hand, like there's no way that like it's gonna fumble through the end zone. You know, that's like the dreaded thing that can happen.
Well,
there.
And he didn't.
But
you can see in the picture right there, he like hits the front of the pylon, like. It's almost like he's cognizant of that possibility.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm going to hit the front or the outside corner of the pylon in case I do lose the ball. It goes out of bounds instead of going out through the end zone.
Yeah.
That would have been a question I would like someone would have asked him after the game. Say, hey, because he doesn't reach it into the end zone, the goal line. He hits the front outside corner of the pylon with the ball. Dude, that was the end zone nearest our seats on our side of the visitor side of the stadium there, right in front of us, due to sick play. Like you said, Bo, that place just got lit because I'm not going to say the Bills quieted the crowd with that opening drive, but, I mean, they took a little buzz out. And
Yeah,
right.
You can feel it.
you
when
were
it
using a
happens.
lot, spending a lot of energy making noise on that first drive, and they sustained it. And the crowd needed to get some life back into it. I'm not trying to say the crowd was dead at that point and people had given up hope or anything like that. They had not
Right.
taken the crowd out of
Dude,
the
but
game.
that
But
set the stage.
they definitely taxed the crowd. It was, I mean, with that energy, and then that touchdown kind of zapped the crowd a little. But then right back into it, Patrick running the ball, feeling him out, making the sick play right down there to score the touchdown. Yeah, just unbelievable effort by that dude.
Same drive though. Same drive. They got backed up. It was like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. Pocket collapses. Patrick, phenomenal game, by the way, all day of avoiding pressure in the pocket, knowing where the escape route was.
Right.
But that same drive, right? He escapes the pressure out of the pocket, runs out of the pocket, underhand flicks it to McKinnon for 4 or 5 yards, and he gets the first down to save that drive, right?
Yeah.
Like, immediately, Mr. Highlights. I had to throw that banner down at the bottom. Just what?
Yeah, no, he played a perfect game.
His QBR was 96 out of 100, right?
Yeah, I mean, man, I don't. It's unrealistic to expect someone to have that many attempts and have a perfect pass, like completion percentage. What I mean, that especially that first half, like, what more could you have wanted? He outplayed Josh Allen in that first half.
Oh,
And
they
the
missed a
game
field
overall,
goal.
but-
They settled for a field goal. They missed a point after PAT.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they completely outplayed him. They just fell victim to some really unfortunate events.
Special teams kind of, put us in 2 tight spots. They missed a field goal, and then they didn't fair catch that punt that
And
then
they
got
missed
them
that
down
deep in our end
which,
zone.
then we ran the ball from like a shotgun.
Well,
And
Pringle missed that first catch that should have been like 6 or 7 yards right out. Right.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you do on 2nd and 10? Same thing? Maybe.
I just think that running, especially you hand the ball to the guy like 4 or 5 yards deep in the end zone there. Their defensive front was no joke in that game. They were getting into the backfield, and if Patrick wasn't as good as he is and as elusive as he is, they could have easily had 6 or 7 sacks in that game.
Right.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And right there at the goal line, they're trying for the safety, and to run the ball right there between the tackles was risky.
And almost get it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the defense played good in the first half.
Yeah.
I thought got a couple stops.
Oh yeah.
Couple sacks.
You're playing the number 1 scoring per drive offense in the NFL. The Bills were, and on defense too. They were the number 1 scoring defense and number 1 scoring offense on a by drive basis this season in the NFL. Got some stops. Were able to make the choice to defer work for you, because even though you gave up the touchdown right away, you were able, like Nick said, you were able to hold your own. They should have had the lead going into halftime. God, that last drive, like, you can ask Nick. I was pretty frustrated with them because I'm like, man, like you had a chance to go in at least up 7, if not 10, because they got the ball. If you can stop them there, you go get a field goal. You're looking at being up, you're looking at being up 17-7 going into halftime.
Yeah.
Instead of tied. And in close games, 10-point swings can be huge. But they go into half tied. New game. We're going to play another 30-minute game. Chiefs are going to get the ball first to start this game. Came out, kind of fizzled a little bit at their end, but they did get the field goal. Then it was kind of just trading shots back and forth. Mahomes and Allen. You get down to the 4th quarter, and just, I don't even know, like, pandemonium.
I sent you guys.
The Bills throw a
sent you guys this,
75-yard bomb, and like Tyreek Hill has a 65-yard catch and run touchdown. and then the Bills score a touchdown, the Chiefs score. It was just, man, it was insane that second half.
I sent you guys a text, and I did the math, right? Because there's like 25 points scored in the final 2 minutes. And if you were to like extrapolate that to an entire game, and the Chiefs were to win by 6 points, the score would have been 378 to 372.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Were scored in the final 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the second half, I mean, it just had this crescendo, man, that was just off. It was off the chain. I don't know what other phrase to use that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Before we start getting into the second half, because it was nuts, I want to go back first to like kind of like what
Who did it better?
I want to do like a re-changing of the guard here with this jersey, because Joe Montana was to me always the all-time great. I'm gonna have to hang up this Patrick Mahomes jersey as the all-time great now, because there was a play in the first half, his touchdown pass to Byron Pringle, right? Same kind of thing. We've been talking about. Pocket was breaking down all day. He avoided 7-8 sacks easily. This could have been one of those sacks. 2 guys in his face. He's jumping, fading away, throwing across his body, hits Pringle in, like, just drops it right in the basket over the defender right there. I mean, like, that play, I text you guys immediately, like, here we go. The kid is back, right? Like, if he was broken this season, he ain't broken no more. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you would have watched this show all season, you would have known no one on here ever said Patrick Mahomes was broken.
100%.
That's what you get when you watch Good Morning Football. Speak for yourself and First Take and all these other hot take garbage shows. I put out on Twitter, if you ever find yourself like watching one of those shows, just go ahead and turn that shit off. Turn on Chiefs Kingdom Live. You'll be glad you did.
We've got plenty of hours
no,
now.
that was a sick play too. Like you said, Bo. I mean, that's like a fadeaway jumper.
Right.
Touchdown, man.
So crazy. It's like a Steph Curry 3 from like the half line. You know what I mean? Just like, what?
Yeah, no.
Amazing throw.
Hell of a play by Pringle. I saw somewhere they said that he's scored more touchdowns in the playoffs than Sammy Watkins has in these 2 playoff games this year than playoff Sammy, which was a thing that everybody talked about.
Wow.
He had the big – it seems like he's always good for like a bad drop somewhere near the beginning of the game. He had the bad drop there at the goal line when the Bills down the punt at the 1 that would have got us some breathing room on first down. But the man comes back – makes that catch. I mean, look at that.
Catch, too.
Look
not
how
like
high
an easy
he is
catch.
in the air, too, man. I mean, that's not an easy catch. I mean, physical ability, freak, athletic play to get up there. Unbelievable. It's just Mahomes, he like makes unbelievable plays look ordinary because he does it all the time. He normalizes greatness.
I think this was the drive, too, where he sidearm hooked it under the defender to Tyreek Hill, too, for about a 12 or 14-yard gain there.
I had to wait for the replay because from our angle, it almost looked like he underhanded the ball.
Almost did. Like, there was such
he almost
sidearm.
I mean, it was a sidearm, but he was already leaning sideways. It was, I mean, the difficulty of that throw. And not just like he wasn't just doing that because – like, oh, I'm going to show off. Like, literally, he had to do that to, like, warp the ball around the defender. I mean, it was that insane, like, talent and ability to do that. And, I mean, I don't know. Like, Scott and I throw the football around sometimes, and, man, I can't sidearm, like, at all.
Tell me you're not Patrick Mahomes, Nick?
Maybe. Well, Scott can sidearm throw the ball. And every time I do it, like, there's just, like, no fucking telling where the ball's going to go.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take a little kudos there, a little prop. I mean, I can throw a pretty good sidearm. So, now running while being chased by a 285-pound defensive lineman, different story.
Running backwards.
But yeah,
what if he's only 265?
That's how you know when you're good. You show off, and you're not trying to show off. That's what makes you really. That's how you know when you're really, really good. When it looks like you're showing off, and you're not. You're just out there making plays. Yeah, and I didn't even realize like what a sick play it was until I saw the replay later, because I didn't realize how close the ball traveled to the defender. Like, it went in between like his arm and his side. Like, from where we were sitting, it just looked like he kind of like did like the diving sidearm throw thing. And Tyreek Hill was covered on that play too.
Yeah. The guy was
No
not far.
margin for error either. Not just was it a sick play, no margin for error whatsoever. Got some people commenting in here. We got Carol. GMF was so wrong. Yeah, no, they're no breaking news there. Hot takes, Kyle Brandt and some of these other guys. Peter Schrager, he usually gets the Chiefs back. I felt though like this last week or two, he was kind of like jumping off the bandwagon a little bit and whatnot. But we got one man show. That's our boy Brian. Big Brian's in the house. I've been searching Raiders fans react to Bills Chiefs.
There's some great reaction videos out there right now.
Shoot us some links in the comments section,
Yeah.
Brian. I'd like to check those out for sure.
But throw them up there.
Yeah, so just a wildly entertaining first half, and just when you think,
Still feel like there's a play we're missing that was just unbelievable in the first half.
Right.
There was just so much that happened.
Right. And it's kind of like the Billy Mays, but wait, there's more. Because the second half was even somehow more wild and entertaining, man. You talk about a roller coaster of emotions because the Chiefs have got to lead, right? Like they come out, they get the field goal, they take the lead. They led most of the first half. They kind of blew the lead there in the last 45 seconds or whatever it was, last minute and a half of the first half. But then they get the lead back and they push it out to a 9-point lead. And the defense is getting some stops. And it's looking like, okay, we're on our way here. And even though we had a missed extra point, that made it a 9-point game instead of a 10-point game. I mean, the Chiefs have a 2-possession lead. Then here come the Bills. They come back. They start making a game of it. They take the lead late. Chiefs get the lead. Then the Bills come back and take the lead. Just so crazy. Patrick Mahomes making, even more unbelievable plays in the second half. Then what everybody's going to talk about forever, Gabriel Davis scores the touchdown with 13 seconds left.
You set that up perfectly, Scott. We'll just stop right there. Gabriel Davis scores a touchdown, 13 seconds left.
Getting all the way inside.
Can't believe that defense got beaten up like that.
To this right there, here's Hill. They're going to have a chance.
And they call timeout quickly.
They actually have a chance to get Butker in field goal range here.
Hail Mary kicks.
Got to throw it right away, right now to someone in the middle.
Down the middle. Oh, my goodness. It's going to be a 48-yard attempt. Only 48 yards. That's what it'll be.
I'm so nervous.
So hundreds of thousands of.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Andy Reid, after the game, we're sitting in the car, and I think it was Adam Teicher from ESPN asks him, he says, Andy, 13 seconds left. What did you say to Patrick? What was your advice? What advice did you give him going back out there on the field to try to get the game tied? And he says, I told him when it gets grim, be the Grim Reaper. Go get it. And when I heard that, I was like, what did he just say? There's no way. Dude, there's no way Andy Reid told Patrick Mahomes, go be the Grim Reaper. And the nickname is born, fellas, right? Am I wrong? They've tried to do the Showtime thing, and it never really stuck. And I've never been big on you can give yourself your own nickname. I've always thought playing sports growing up, the best nicknames were always given to you by somebody else, or they just come out of some organically, not some some contrived, forced thing.
Can't give yourself your own nickname.
That's like the Seinfeld episode where he tries to
be that guy.
T-Bone.
Yeah, exactly.
T-Bone.
Where he tries to give himself the nickname T-Bone. The Grim Reaper. Is there a better nickname for any player in sports? Dude, he took Andrew Luck's soul. He fucking quit the game. He quit the sport after losing to Patrick Mahomes. Retired Big Ben. Comes back and there was a wicked video, and gosh, I was forcing myself to remember who tweeted it out. They did a side-by-side, and it's Josh Allen hugging players on the sideline, and it shows the suite with Josh Allen's family, and they're hugging and jumping up and down and going like this, number one. And, like, at the same time, they've got Patrick Mahomes, and he's just, like, calmly walking onto the field with 13 seconds left, and it was like,
having just heard that quote, like nobody knows that, but if you like look at
Right.
his face, knowing that that's what Andy Reid just told him, it's a whole different outlook on that replay.
Yep. And he came out there and he throws the pass to Tyreek Hill, which was basically the same play they ran against the Cowboys. The Hail Mary, I think people have dubbed that play now.
Right.
Gets a good chunk of yardage. Then Travis Kelce, you saw it in the video. He's like, I'm going off script. I know I'm supposed to run to the sideline and try to get out of bounds, but we've got timeouts. And there's a seam between these two defenders the last time we ran this play earlier. I'm going to cut it back in. And Patrick Mahomes tells him, do it, Kels, do it. And he runs the route. He gets in field goal range. And I wasn't going to tell on myself here, but I gotta be honest with Chiefs Kingdom a little bit here, okay?
Oh, man. I knew
This is true. Scott told me this minutes after the game when we talked on the phone.
Hold on. I didn't even know this, and I called Bo, and I was like, this stays between us, dude. But, like,
I ratted you out to Nick,
Scott was like,
I told him,
I was like, Scott was like inconsolably mad, and
because in the drama of the back and forth and the Bills going for 2 and us missing an extra point, when Davis scored that touchdown with 13 seconds left, I honestly have lost track of the score. I thought we needed a touchdown to win the game. And I'm like, I'm like coming to terms like we lost the game almost. I hadn't given up hope because I know Patrick can do it. But I'm like, dude, that's a tall task. Like, they're going to have to get – and they throw the short pass to Hill, and I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, you need more yards than that. You don't have that much time. And then I heard someone say, they only need like 20 more yards now for field goal range. And I'm like,
what?
I look at the scoreboard, and I'm like, oh, shit, we're only down by 30 yards. So, Dumbass of the Year award goes to me. I just told on myself. I believe in transparency and being honest.
That's okay, man.
And but it's just like this, like, energy just like came back into me, and I'm like, oh, we just won this game. There's no way he's not going to get 20 yards and get into field goal range now, and there's no way Butker's not going to make a field goal. And when he kicked that field goal to tie the game, I turned to Nick and I was like, well, they just won this game. He said, at least we got to win the coin toss. I said, did you think he just did all that and they're not going to win the coin toss? There's no way. No way the Chiefs were not going to win the coin toss.
Right.
They get the ball, and the Grim Reaper stole the soul out of the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. I want to say that drive was 8 plays, 75 yards, and just a sick pass. They get first and goal, and I told Nick, I was like, let's just do it here. Don't try to wait till a second or third and goal.
Yeah, just do it.
First and goal, touchdown, Travis Kelce, sick throw by Mahomes. I mean, he throws it before Kelce is turned. It's kind of like a hybrid, like
it's like a little
not
rainbow.
quite a fade, but it looked like a fade almost. Kelce jumps, dude, turns, and catches it, gets 2 feet into bounds. If you haven't been to the Chiefs Kingdom Live Twitter, like Nick was talking about earlier, Nick actually got the game-winning touchdown pass, and the pandemonium, the hype level infinity that went into that stadium. I'm not a wordsmith, but you will be hard-pressed to find anybody that will be able to describe what it felt like to be there, what it felt like, that stadium, the noise, just the jubilation, the joy, people jumping up and down. Just a sick, sick ending to a sick, sick game.
I mean, that's pretty close right there. That's about how I felt.
Yeah,
I mean, worth 1,000 words right there.
Bo,
No, Scott,
watching
you
it
were
on TV, what did you think that last drive? How were you
Yeah,
feeling?
man.
What was it like
You
watching
weren't
it?
alone though, man. Like honestly, like keeping track of the score wasn't my priority. Just watching the sheer madness unfold right in front of me was just like weird. I was the same kind of way, man. I was a little gutted. I mean, let's get real. Even if the math is there and like we did have that 3-point shot, right? You have 13 seconds to go 40, 50 yards. We saw the Cowboys not execute that earlier. There's plenty of
Right.
teams like that's a hard task. You know what I mean? So like I was kind of like, making amends with like, oh man, I have the entire NFL, like all these other fans texting me because they're watching this epic game. Like I got probably like 60 text messages within 5 minutes. It was unreal. And like I'm trying to like kind of respond to people and watch the game, getting lost too, right? We had friends over and they're not the biggest football fans. And so like what a game for them to kind of get introduced into football too,
It's
right?
all downhill from there, folks.
But it was funny because like I'm making amends. I'm feeling good. I'm like, shit, 13 minutes. And like,
Yeah.
it got really quiet in my house. Everybody's gutted, right? And like I kind of break the silence, just kind of jokingly go like, it's all right. We got Patrick Mahomes, right? Like not even kind of believing in it myself, but like just still making the statement. And oh man, it's not as cool as that kid that I saw online going, it's not a double zeros yet, guys. Don't lose hope to his whole family.
That's
But,
so
like,
negative.
but man, everybody. I was just like, there's no way. That was incredible. That was unbelievable. I mean, like every adjective you can think of in that fashion, I used it in a text message to somebody at some point. Like epic game. Probably, like I said, the best game I think I've ever seen in my life. There's a couple that like can maybe compete with it, but that'll hold water for sure.
Yeah, I mean, even the Super Bowl, it had drama, it had a comeback, it had lead changes. But really, at the end, it was the 49ers trying to come back with Jimmy G, and that's not going to happen. So it didn't have the drama. Even the Super Bowl didn't have the drama in the back and forth at the very end. Just like you just cannot. I wish you could bottle that shit somehow. And
put it in my veins.
We got some people in the comments here. Look, I know you guys have been popping them up, but make sure we get everybody in here.
Oh yeah.
Elaine, Chiefs and Mahomes are magical and electrifying. Yeah, no doubt. It's two perfect adjectives to describe that team and that player. Carol, we were so happy you stayed. Fans that left must have been upset.
There's people leaving that game.
Oh no, the people in front of us left, and the guy that was next to me, like my new best friend who said he was going to watch tonight, but I don't know, was like yelling at them, pissed. He's like, "Why are you leaving?" He's like, "We got 13 seconds left. The game isn't over." I mean, literally just roasting those people as they left.
That dude had zero doubt.
Yep.
Good. That's such
unlike your boy here, Scott, that didn't know the score of the game at that point and was a little upset and had kind of lost hope a little bit. But
you go back and listen to the announcers, dude. Like they're in disbelief about what just happened. You know what I mean? Like that was
Well, this is a. I know everybody's seen this if you've watched anywhere else, right? But this was the win probability graphic, and I mean, fun fact: it doubles as a readout of the fans' EKG during the game.
Looks like the crypto market right now.
I know, right? Like this is like Bitcoin's like 60,000, 30,000. Like, I mean, when you're over here, right? I mean, this is where like everybody. Well, no, the second dip, right? This is where everybody's like, okay, it's probably over, but it's never over until like the clocks are zeros with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's never ever over.
Yeah, when you got the Grim Reaper at quarterback for your team, it's never over.
I do want to make a small correction, Scott. You said stealing souls, but the Grim Reaper doesn't steal souls; he reaps them. They're his.
That's true. I really said stole the soul because it rhymes. I was trying to,
You're a poet, and you know it.
Trying to be a poet here, but yeah, just a sick. And the fact that it was the Bills too, the team that everybody's been telling us all year was so much better than the Chiefs, and Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes now.
It's their year.
It's their year, even though we had a better record against a tougher schedule. And even though Patrick Mahomes had more yards and more touchdowns and less interceptions than Josh Allen did this year, to beat that team in that game, people probably don't know this, but I love to go. I love fishing. I love going out and getting out and getting, just a fishing pole, go out there. One of my favorite shows growing up was watching Al Linder, his bass fishing show. And he would always say, dude, just don't get no better than this. Like when he'd get a big fish hooked on, it's not going to get any better than that game. I don't care if Chiefs go out and shithouse the Bengals this weekend or have even another epically close game. But to beat that team and that quarterback, and I'm going to say it, Josh Allen was great in that game. I'm not going to sit here and try and act like he wasn't.
Yeah.
But most of his passes, guys were wide open.
100%.
100%.
I think there's a handful of quarterbacks that could have made that comeback and made the throws that he made in that game. He wasn't doing fadeaway jumpers. He wasn't diving sidearm, throwing it in between the freaking crux of someone's arm and their side. He wasn't throwing contested fades to the side, the very edge, the boundary of the end zone. He wasn't hitting the cheetah, the fastest player in the NFL, on a freaking dart. I mean, dotting it on the hip. Tyreek Hill on that 64-yard touchdown, he's being held by the defender. Yeah, Mo, you were so right. I mean, he's usually always spot on. That's why people come to Chiefs Kingdom Live. But that absolute dime that he threw to the cheetah didn't slow his momentum down at all. The guy's holding on to his jersey as he's coming across the field on that slant. If he has to slow down or adjust his route at all, he probably doesn't break free of that guy, the guy covering him. He probably doesn't get the momentum to take him past the safeties, get the corner, score a touchdown on that play. Patrick Mahomes outplayed Josh Allen, and by a fairly wide margin.
No, I agree. And we were kind of alluding to it earlier.
Am I not giving Allen enough credit? Am I being a homer there, or am I? Do you think I'm pretty much on there?
I think you're right on point, man. I would even go a little bit further to say that Josh Allen played a perfect game, but like he just didn't do what Mahomes did. You know what I mean? Like you can't beat the Reaper when it's all said and done. Like he'll come for you.
I think everybody's fixated on the last two touchdown drives when they're looking at the game in its entirety, and they say, he played a perfect game and still lost. And the reality is, they punted 4 times. They didn't get it done 4 times. The Chiefs punted twice. And that ultimately is the difference in the game. In really, if we make the field goal on the extra point, they're looking at the improbable comeback towards the end of the game. So no, you're not. I don't think you're being a homer at all. I think you're being a realist. And I know that there's a lot of red on the screen right now. So people probably are thinking we're being a little homerish here. Josh Allen is a fine quarterback. He had a fantastic game. He had one of the performances that will go down in history. But there's levels of this thing, and those two guys are playing at the highest levels. But Patrick is on a level that's above. I mean, I heard people talking about Josh Allen's like Batman. He's got the tools and but then like Patrick Mahomes is like not even human. He's like Superman, right? Like the things that he can do, like mere mortals just can't even fathom. And that's what I felt about that. I mean, he did that against like the number 1 ranked pass defense, and Josh Allen did that against the number 28th ranked pass defense, right? And without
they was missing.
Now they were missing Tre'Davious White, right? So. I mean, I get it. You're missing a guy, but I mean, there's a bigger drop off between I think Tyrann Mathieu being out and Tre'Davious White being out. I mean,
and Rashad Fenton in the secondary. He didn't play in this game either. He's our second, maybe third best corner. Charvarius Ward's the number 1. You could make an argument that Snead is maybe 2 and Fenton is 3, but I mean, or even if you want to flip-flop those guys, I mean, Mike Hughes, God bless him. I know that man has a family, and I don't want to hate on Mike Hughes because he is what he is, but he had some awful coverages
Yeah.
where guys he let
Yeah.
guys. That one play on, I want to think it was the second to last touchdown by the Bills.
Yeah, it was like 4th and 15.
I mean, it looked like a ghost comes in and blindside blocks.
Yeah,
on that
it
head.
did. All they got
All
sniped
the guy
out of
did
the
was do a head
third,
fake, like a
tier.
single move to the inside, and Hughes is like flailing his arms in the air as he's falling to the ground. I don't.
Yeah.
The level of difficulty of the plays that Patrick Mahomes made when compared to Josh Allen, it was just on another level, and the name is escaping me now. I know you guys played Doom back in the day on the computer. There was easy, and then there was hard, and then what was the hardest level on Doom that was like
Oh, what was
damn
it?
near impossible? What was that called? It felt like Josh Allen was playing on hard.
It's like hell mode or something like that.
And Patrick Mahomes was on that next level.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like when Tiger Woods started playing golf, right? Like you have all these professional golfers who, like, if you play golf, you know that those guys are the top 0.01% of golfers on the planet. And then Tiger Woods comes in and just dominates them, right? Like beats them by 8, 9, 13 strokes, no problem. I feel like that's what we're seeing with like Patrick Mahomes. We're seeing like another level, like where it's just above and beyond everything we've already seen. And like everybody's already starting to compare him to Brady and Rodgers and Manning, and the dude's 4 seasons in. You know what I mean? And like it's I think we're going to see way more to come. But like I think like yeah, you're right. There are levels to this stuff, and he's the cream of the crop. That's for sure.
Yeah. God, I really want to remember the name of that difficulty on that game now.
Here, I'll look it up right now.
Analogy. Before we did the show, it just came into my head here as we're doing this live. So, but yeah, I just feel like the level of difficulty of what Mahomes was going against was just so much
Nightmare mode.
Nightmare mode. That's what it was, dude. Like Mahomes was playing it on nightmare, and Allen was playing it on hard or medium, because a lot of those throws he made, the guys were wide open. They were. I mean, it's not his fault. You can only throw. I mean, it doesn't make him a bad quarterback for throwing it to the open guy.
Right.
But I mean, I didn't see him throwing touchdowns to fades on the edge of the end zone, the boundary.
Right.
Like that last. I didn't see him, like you said, Bo, the fadeaway jumper, Steph Curry style. I didn't see him making throws like that for touchdowns. So just an absolutely insane game.
You know what he did do well, though? I'll give him credit to that. Was he ran the ball pretty well, dude. He was trucking over some of our defenders. Yeah. He put Ward down.
He's a big guy.
A huge guy. Like he did that so well. Like I'll give him credit there. Like
although he had one less yard and one less.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously not as good as Patrick Mahomes. Couldn't run as far.
He escaped some pretty hairy situations there to make some
plays. Was it 4th and 13? The guy ended up, the receiver was open on the touchdown, but he scrambled around and kept that play alive. Yeah.
I think that was that Mike Hughes touchdown, though, that you were talking about, right?
Again, I'm not trying to say that
the
guy's not good or he didn't have a fan. He had a fan. That game beats 31 other teams and quarterbacks in football.
Yeah, completely.
Yep.
Or 30, I should say.
30.
30 other teams, except for the team and the quarterback that he was playing that night. As a Bills fan, that's got to be that just has to be so demoralizing.
The Bills fans, though, were like pretty cool. You got to admit, on the way out, they were just like, I mean, they just kind of had that, I mean, what the fuck else are you supposed to do kind of vibe about it.
They were in shock, as were she. I mean, I was in shock a little bit. I mean,
I heard rumors of Bills fans doing the chop and hitting the spiral as you guys go down towards the parking lot.
I forgot to get that video loaded. We'll load it on the Twitter account. There were some Bills fans in front of us coming out of the stadium, and they were kind of doing this on the way out. So
yeah,
trying to hide in plain sight. They're like, if we do this, maybe they won't notice the color of our jerseys.
Yeah, we got one-man show. I believe the biggest improvement to the defense has been Hitchens staying as close to the press boxes as possible when the D is on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just gotten older and Father Time's undefeated. But yeah, Nick Bolton, some plays that guy made
in the
open field to force some punts. I want to say there was one play where he tackled Singletary short on a 3rd down.
Right.
Forced a punt that was key there in the second half. That guy's been a stud this year.
This is
Absolute
a
stud.
sick play
For a
by
rookie.
Ingram and 5.5.
God, we had some killer rookies this year that are still just, you know what I mean? They haven't even fell off. They're only going to get better too. Like
Right.
Creed Humphrey, Nick Bolton, just like,
Willie Gay, Trey Smith, like those dudes, young guys that are on rookie contracts that you're going to be able to offset some of the money that Mahomes is going to start taking up in the cap, increasing there. You're going to have to pay some of these other guys some money. So huge picks, rookies coming up. And the stat was out there. I mean, Chiefs had the most playoff experience out of any team in the playoffs, and they were the youngest roster in the playoffs.
yeah.
Nick and I talked about this a little bit. The Bills, maybe this is premature, but I could see a game like that maybe setting that team back a little bit next year. Like a Super Bowl hangover, like an AFC Divisional Epic Game hangover.
Well, especially with all that buildup, you know, that famous photo of Diggs standing there going like, I will be back next year. I will be back better kind of
And
shit.
you're going to lose.
And then Diggs' greatest
you're gonna
play
have
is tackling
70
a
yards.
fan on the field. Like, oh, yeah, I think they're going to take a couple, at least a step backward.
Yeah. And how about that Diggs, that famous photo of him standing there watching the Chiefs celebrate in the championship game last year and saying he wanted it to hurt and he wanted to soak it all in so that he would remember for this year. And then you had 7 yards. Couldn't be our guy.
Last 13 seconds sound like a deer in the headlights. He must have been in shock.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
it must have been like what every Bills fan looked like.
It's the look when the soul is leaving the body.
Yeah, I believe that's exactly what that is. So, just pretty crazy. So much fun, so exciting, and it punches a ticket to a 4th consecutive AFC Championship game at Arrowhead Stadium.
NFL record.
In its 50-year existence had never even hosted one championship game before. The Chiefs we're just cashing in all this goodwill. Bengals are coming to town Sunday. 4 consecutive AFC Championship games. You want to start talking dynasties and this and that? Patriots never did that. Steelers never did that. 49ers never did that. Cowboys never did that.
That's amazing.
We're getting there. We're getting
Thinking
closer.
about like the Troy Aikman Cowboys, right? You gotta say like, and the Joe Montana 49ers, and
right.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Brady Patriots, like
right.
Dang.
The dynasties of the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. The Chiefs are starting to set some records, and Patrick Mahomes is setting some playoff records that none of these other teams that are the benchmark that have all the rings have done.
Yeah.
The Chiefs can start collecting some jewelry here and win some rings, man. They are going to be putting themselves in there in the the top shelf.
So talking about nightmare mode, it seems that the universe, to balance itself out, is potentially equalizing by giving the Chiefs potentially 2 straight home Super Bowl teams that they have to play against if the Rams win.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't heard anybody bring that up yet in the national media, but it's looming there.
It's still a game out. That's probably why they don't want to jinx it.
I don't know. I don't think the home field.
Scott's like, I don't give a shit about that.
I know, because it's not like playing a real road game. I mean, they're not going to have any more fans in there because it's in LA. Tampa Bay didn't
have less because it's the Super Bowl.
Tampa Bay didn't have.
Thinking like you sleep in your own bed,
because it was in Tampa Bay last year.
I don't know. You sleep in your own bed. Like the week is like normal, right? You're not traveling. I don't know. I mean, look, this would be Mahomes' and team's 3rd straight Super Bowl. So I think that effect of, Super Bowl week, I mean, if it was a fresh team, it may have more of an effect. But I just think it's kind of funny that it's never happened in like the 50 plus years of the Super Bowl. And then we start making the Super Bowl every year, and they're like, the universe is. I was thinking it's like that, like, in the Matrix when like Neo gets like super powerful, and like so they like keep like Agent Smith starts like doubling because it's like they're trying to like accommodate for him. And I don't know, it's just it's super weird timing, right?
Yeah. And one final thing I'll say about this game before we start talking about the championship game against Cincinnati this weekend. Josh Allen had the number one defense in the NFL this year. Didn't get to the Super Bowl. Let me tell you something. I put this out on the Chiefs Kingdom Live Twitter account as well. If Patrick Mahomes ever has the number one ranked defense in the NFL, you just shut the league down because it's over. You're talking they'll go undefeated and they will win the Super Bowl and they will win every game by 30 to 40 points if Patrick Mahomes ever gets the number one defense in the league. So,
now I gotta before we transition over to AFC Championship, I do have the best memes of the week on Reddit for us to go over. If you guys want to go for that,
right?
Yeah, one thing real quick. Sorry, before you throw the first meme out there, you were talking about Mahomes records. I had one really interesting one. He only needs 82 more rushing yards in the postseason to tie the Chiefs franchise history for rushing yards in the postseason.
There's that stat or whatever he's got. He now has the most touchdown passes in a player's first 5 years. Postseason touchdown passes, and he's only played 4 years. He's got like 3,100 passing yards in the playoffs or some crazy shit already. Like the dude, he's got
27 and 1 touchdown to interception ratio.
Yeah, he's got 25 career touchdown passes in the playoffs. And since 1950, the Detroit Lions' entire franchise has 24 postseason passing touchdowns.
Matt, if you're watching, he's my buddy. He's a Lions fan. Sorry, buddy.
The
stat found us. We didn't go find that stat.
It's a Patrick Mahomes stat, not a Lions stat. So, Doug's in the comments. You can bet Mahomes, Hill, and especially Kelsey, and remember how that last year felt. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
yeah. That wound hasn't completely healed. I guarantee it.
It'll probably never heal. Let's be real.
There's something about that Super Bowl that like nobody really talks about in the sense that like they just like knew that like our O-line was obliterated and it was kind of like a fluke game, right? Like I don't hear anybody talking about that game being like a great game or like how many times did like the Bucs? I mean, they would mention that they were the defending Super Bowl champions, but it wasn't like they were hanging that over anybody's head all year by any means because it didn't.
Right.
Everybody knows it didn't mean that much.
All right, Nick. Let's see what you got here. We got some pretty fun. There's so much stuff going around. And the Patrick.
Oh, there's a bunch. Now, some of the stuff you guys had seen, I took out because Bo had the idea that, it'd be better maybe if you guys hadn't seen all the memes. So here we got Chiefs Kingdom Live, AFC Divisional Round, Reddit memes of the week. These were taken from pretty exclusively from Reddit, but I mean, they all get kind of washed around the different social media platforms. Start out here with sup Bills Mafia. So we got No Country for Old Men from Josh Allen. What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss?
Yeah.
And then this one is the Pentagon, Hexagon, Octagon, his lead's gone.
Yeah, I saw one that was like day season gone or something like that too. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, that one I made. You can always tell, can't you, when I make them. But all right. Next here, Simpsons. I love this one, dude. And we got somebody's gonna come up with Crying Jordan.
That's prerequisite.
There's a bunch of these variations of these I want to die.
Buffalo
ones.
Bill jumping into Niagara Falls saying, I want to die. I don't think anybody's listening to this, so I'm sure they're watching it, but man.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. So next, got the old Charlie Brown.
Nice.
Got a Bills fan drinking bleach. And then the brain meme, are you asleep? Yes, now shut up. 13 seconds, Oh, my God, how did it happen?
That's been the past. Yeah, that was all the night sleeps.
So here we got a few. Dude, how did the Bills let the Chiefs in the field goal range in 10 seconds? Kelsey's that
God,
good, man.
how did that feel like
I mean, for the Bills, probably not good.
for Bills fans to just like you're watching them just throw the ball to guys uncovered and run for 15, 20 yards into field goal range? Like,
Why were they playing? Like, I don't understand. Like, that's as baffling a defensive call to play like they're gonna do out
well,
routes.
I think what it was they were trying to keep Tyreek Hill from getting a long touchdown again. I mean,
It looked like they thought
Just
they were
all
trying
he
to
just
run it out of
did.
bounds to stop the clock, and like they just left the inside of the field open. It reminded me of like rushing 9 when they had to go
Yeah, there
4th
was-
and 26.
What's
they were playing
interesting is
deep
they
and
had
they were playing soft, and the prevent defense, which oftentimes will prevent you from winning the game. That's a lot of times where the prevent comes from. But they just saw the cheetah, dude. That play was he outran their entire defense to the end zone. I mean, he caught that ball and he got to the hashes and he turned on the afterburners, cheetah speed, 5th gear, 6th gear, 100th gear, whatever gear you want to call his top gear. And
Gives
he's just flying by guys.
Gives the
He's
deuces
got
to
the
a
dude-
defender in front of him. In
He's in
front
front
of
of
him.
him, and he's at the 20-yard
oh, it
line.
is coming.
He's at the 20-yard line, and he's throwing it up to the guy who's at the 10-yard line, who has the angle on him. No, you don't.
Yep. And then, this one I feel like is a little unfair to the Cowboys because they didn't have any timeouts, but it's still fucking funny. Chiefs were able to do that in 13 seconds and do like Dallas. I mean, it's coaching, right?
Big part of it.
So we got the types of headaches. We got the migraine, hypertension, stress, and then the last 5 minutes of the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
That's probably how my face actually looks during the game.
Yeah. And then never let your girl tell you 13 seconds isn't long enough ever again. So more. There's so many, dude.
So many.
This is actually just a screenshot because this is from the Chiefs app. If anybody had the Chiefs app, the next day, I woke up and I was like, holy shit, that happened. And then I literally looked at my phone. It's like, yeah, that happened. I was just like, dude,
and I did watch it again and again and again.
They knew. They're like, yeah, we're going to be doing it too, right?
How did they know?
I don't know. And then we got I put a couple in here about the OT rule. This is funny, like Scooby-Doo. It's like who's responsible? It's like, yeah, everybody else but the Chiefs.
Yeah, the whole NFL.
And then this was perfect because, dude, this is exactly it. Stupid OT rules. No, you gave up a field goal in 13 seconds. That's why you lost.
Big part of it.
Great.
But anyway, here's the tweet or whatever. I mean, it is psychotic to put the deuces up when there's someone in front of you, but not when you're the cheetah and you got no chance. And then yeah, and then the playoff Patrick Mahomes Grim Reaper costume. Dude,
that's gonna be a popular Halloween costume here in about 8-9 months, no doubt about that.
Throw in the headband too.
Yeah, legend size, and then you probably can't read it, but it says at the bottom, "Warning: regular season performance can lull you into a false sense of hope."
He didn't even have a bad regular season though.
Yeah, no, I understand. This is still funny.
That's not what I heard on the TV, Scott.
What's that?
That's not what I heard on the TV. Everybody on the TV was telling me the Chiefs were figured out.
Everybody on TV said that he was broke. We got South Park, and then the Ted Lasso. I think
great.
Oh, that's so good. And then we got the Grim Reaper. There's been some really great fan art that's come out since that game, and I mean it's only been 48 hours now, and so dude, Chiefs Kingdom y'all quick. And then the last one we got, it's coming up to the Bengals. It's your turn.
Like who drew the Cincinnati Bengals logo right there?
That's actually so. Yeah, no. So on they on Reddit, I don't know if it's in the city of Cincinnati, but like they call them the Cincinnati Bengos, Bengos, and they draw that stupid fucking tiger thing and they put it on all their stuff. So that's not like that's actually a Bengals fan thing that they use. But
It looks like I don't know what it looks like. It looks like a cat with a tail and a face in its stomach or something. Yeah, that's
It's
awful.
like when you ask like a kindergartner to draw like two animals and they draw it like together instead of two separate animals.
okay. Well, thanks for piecing me there with the memes, guys. I hope you enjoyed
That's good.
One man show. Brian, you liked it.
Speaking of the Bengals, they're coming to Arrowhead Stadium, and I feel like they probably think, "Oh, we beat this team 3 or 4 weeks ago." Were you watching the game Sunday night? Like you don't. I'm sorry. They struggled to hang on at home against the Raiders in the wild card round. They took 9 sacks and needed, 3 turnovers. And the people saying Tennessee is the worst 1 seed in NFL history. I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but they weren't a very good 1 seed. And Derrick Henry returning to that team actually, I think, hurt them more than it helped them personally, because he looked awful.
Yeah, he didn't.
When they gave him the ball, he I know you want to get in there and you want to play, but at that level and that big of a game, someone's got to say, "Hey, man, like this ain't the one, dog." Like you know what I mean? Like I don't.
They figured it out, like how to maintain the 1 seed throughout the season, and then like I don't know if mentally you put it in the rest of the team's head that like, oh, we got this guy coming back. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if it was like we can relax because we got him and Henry's gonna do it, and then he averaged like 3 yards a carry or something.
right.
But I don't know. And then Ryan Tannehill throwing 3 picks, first and last pass in the game being intercepted is not favorable. It was a pretty good play on that last interception. I didn't watch the whole game, but
it was
still you're still fairly improbable, right? That if Mahomes has the ball in that situation and he's going down to win the game, like you're gonna fucking lose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know you two already know this story, but if any of our viewers don't watch the Shant Club, they had Joe Valerio on, which we've had on our show. We're going to have him on again soon. During this last Shant Club episode, he was on there, and I asked him a question through the chat about, bringing players back too early out of injury and stuff. And he specifically mentioned Derrick Henry, and like they would put him in there because he's just too big of an asset and it's crunch time. And I agree with you guys. I think it was just the wrong move. I think it hurt them way more than it helped them. Like he's not at 100%, ergo not effective.
Right.
And I feel like they just didn't know what to do with him.
Right. I mean, the Chiefs have the 4 seed at home in the AFC Championship game. And before this year, the last 2 seasons, the Bengals have won 6 games. So I just,
all right.
It's lined up right now, man. Aaron Rodgers is knocked out. Tom Brady, although I'm not gonna lie, I wanted another shot at the
I wanted him again.
Super Bowl. I want it, but Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are gone. You're gonna be looking at facing Stafford or Jimmy G, and those teams 4 and 5 seed possible matchup in the Super Bowl. It's lined up right now. And that team that we watched Sunday night play against Buffalo, they don't look like they're losing to anybody, let alone the Cincinnati Bengals anytime soon.
Right.
The Bengals, they don't have the experience quite yet. Their defensive line, I expect Chris Jones and Melvin Ingram and Frank Clark and these other guys to just come in and be in the backfield on a regular basis. double up Jamar Chase. Don't let Jamar Chase beat you.
Right.
And make Tyler Boyd or TJ Uzuma or whatever is tight end. Joe Mixon, let them try to run the ball. They're just not ready for this game. And the Chiefs are they're the better team. They have the experience. They got the pedigree. I mean, I feel like it's like a lot of the same things, the advantages they had against the Bills, they have against the Bengals. Oh, and by the way, the Bengals aren't as good as the Bills. So,
Oh, and we saw that. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet about the ref who's reffing it, but it's like the reffing crew that had the least amount of flags thrown all season. They've reffed all, like the Super Bowls that they've reffed, they've thrown the least amount of flags to, which all goes in our favor. Because, I mean, even the Raiders fans, when they played the Bengals, they could agree. The refs kind of affected both those games a little bit, right? I'm sure the Raiders are a little bitter that they lost by 7. I know we're bitter about everything that transgressed in our game. I feel like not having the refs in your pocket like goes a long way.
yeah. No, I mean,
well, just like you saw it in the Bills game, right? I mean, the refs just were fairly invisible, and they just let the guys play. And look what happened. It was like the greatest fucking
One
game,
of the greatest
in the
games
NFL,
ever. Go figure.
Right?
There was a couple of hits to the head on Mahomes that I would like to see called as personal fouls. And if I was Clark Hunt, I would be on the phone with Roger Goodell in the league, wanting to know why my $500 million quarterback in the face of the league is not getting.
Why the head ref is picking him up off the ground, right? You guys were live. I don't know if they replayed that or not, but when he got kneed in the face, the head ref runs over there, picks him up, pretty much going like, "Well, missed that one. Sorry, come on up, buddy." And everybody's like, "Why
you can still throw the flag, dude."
Yeah. Instead of reaching for Patrick, reach for your belt and throw that flag.
Yeah, you figure in the revenge factor. You figure in all the things that went right for the Bengals, and they still needed a weak-ass penalty on, what was it, 7th and goal?
Yeah.
To get a first down, to win by 3. Come on.
Exactly.
This is just lining up for this made, everybody talks about how great of a game this was against the Bills and how great the last weekend's playoff was. It the best weekend of football ever because all the games came down to the last play, were decided. Now 3 of them were field goals, so it's not like there was 4 games decided by last second or overtime touchdowns. But this has a chance to
down to the wire.
We got a Bo Chief fan. I'm not going to sleep on Cincinnati, but they're visiting Arrowhead now, and Tannehill isn't our QB. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not saying sleep on them, but
I just feel like they're walking into a meat grinder is how I feel right now.
Everybody's chomping at the bit to go back into this game and get redemption.
And our defense is pissed about how they performed at the end of that Bills game.
Oh, yeah, that too.
I
did see that the Chiefs said that they are anticipating having Rashad Fenton back and Tyrann Mathieu, which I don't know how you can anticipate that. Maybe they've seen enough progress in the concussion protocol in just a day or two after the injury to be hopeful or confident that he'll be back and that he'll be able to play. But get those guys back. You're able to avoid major injury to any key players, to any players really, against that Bills game. This is. I mean, you just can't ask for a better scenario for the Chiefs.
I didn't even look it up, but I know that Jaron Reed he went out in the game, but I think he went back in too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he went back in. He walked off the field. Charvarius Ward was down on the ground for a little while too, but he got up and came back in.
Right.
So it's Bo. I mean, how are you seeing the Cincinnati game? I mean, what are you feeling? I mean, we're gonna do another show tomorrow where I think we can probably do predictions, but so I don't know
sure.
Score right now, but
I think if like we were talking about, like if Spags is able to game plan, eliminate Jamar Chase, teams were able to eliminate Tyreek Hill or Kelsey this year. I mean, it is possible to take a player out of the game. Like, just don't let him get the ball ever. Like, double team always. Let all the other wide receivers try to catch up, right? They're not going to. They don't have the receiving crew to keep up with our defense. Like, if we can just keep that guy out of play, I think we're good. Whether or not that's going to happen, We'll see. You know what I mean? Like, there's been some mental farts that they made. Like, we had that game locked up last time at 4th and 26 or whatever it was, and they got 27 yards, and there's just like unbelievable play calling, and
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I see what is that?
I will
The
say,
Chiefs
Spag's ego has me nervous. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly
Yeah,
what
I
I'm saying,
mean,
right? Like,
there was a
players have ups and downs. So do the play calling coaches. You know what I mean? Like, that was just a mental fart that we can't afford to have happen again. But like I said, I feel like everybody's chomping at the bit. Everybody's ready. Coming off this game, everybody's gonna be pumped. They see what's right in front of them. They're one game away from going to the big game. I don't think they're gonna overlook it. I think they're gonna come out like thirsty and they're just gonna run shop. That's how I'm feeling about this game.
I'm feeling similar, and Vegas is feeling pretty good about it too. It opened up at a 7-point spread, right?
Wow, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So it opened at a 7-point spread in favor of the Chiefs. So yeah, exactly right. Make somebody else beat us, right? I mean,
But again, Chase had 200 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns, and they still needed a bunch of penalties and the ball bouncing their way a bunch of times to win by 3 at the end.
What do we have? We had like 12 or 14 penalties that game, right? Just something outrageous.
I want to say the Bengals had 3 or 4 scoring drives extended on 3rd or 4th down that would have been stops by penalties. They went for it 5 or 6 straight times there at the goal line at the end. Didn't get in. Went for it on 4th and goal. Didn't get in. Got the penalty that gave them a new set of downs. It was able to kick the field goal to take the lead. They don't call that penalty. Joe Mixon didn't get in the end zone. The Chiefs had the ball with a chance to go down and kick game-winning field goal or go to overtime. Just for all of the things that went in their favor in that game, to only win it by 3, I just think it shows you how far apart these teams really are. Kind of reminds me a little bit. We talked about this the week of that Cincinnati matchup. If you want to go back and watch, like, it reminded me after we talked about it, it reminded me of that Tennessee Titans game from a couple years ago where we did everything wrong. The ball bounced their way. They got the benefit of a ton of suspicious calls and still was a nail biter, beat us by a late field goal. We played them later in the AFC Championship game that season, and it was not close. It was 35-17 or whatever it was before they got an by the way touchdown. Tennessee did in that game. So I mean, I'm not going to say I feel more confident about this game than I did the Steelers game, because the Steelers game was that was a cakewalk. The Chiefs had 0%. Okay, I'll never say 0%. They had a 0.05% chance of losing that game. Feeling good, man. And here we are, one game away from just think about it, a 3rd straight Super Bowl.
I feel spoiled. Having my cake and eat it too, man.
Like, when you hear it out loud in your head, like when you think about it in your head, it sounds cool. But when you say that the Chiefs are a heavy favorite at home to go to a 3rd consecutive Super Bowl, it's just life is good.
Yeah,
it's never going to be this good
right?
again.
Just like, great. Sorry, go ahead, Dick.
It's just never going to be this good again. Just revel in it, Chiefs Kingdom. Just revel in it, because we've got the guy. We've got the Michael Jordan, whatever you want to say, LeBron. I mean, Tiger Woods.
I like the Tiger Woods comparison.
We got that guy, and he's on our team.
I like the Tiger Woods comparison because, like, the only person that could ever beat Tiger, especially in majors, was Tiger.
Right.
Like, guys would have a phenomenal Masters or a phenomenal U.S. Open that in every other year before Tiger Woods would have won, guys would shoot 7 under and he would shoot 13 under. For the
PGA Championship that he went, Rocco Media went like 7. They both were going 17 under. This is why I brought up that analogy, because it reminded me of that shootout. Him and Rocco just going playoff hole after playoff hole, right? And Rocco Media is playing like the best golf you've ever seen. And Tiger Woods is, like making sand saves and all this stuff, and finally comes back and eventually is Tiger Woods and wins. You know what I mean? But just when you thought like this guy's playing perfect, you're playing the GOAT,
Yeah, never thought I'd see 3 straight AFC championships, but Super Bowls, exactly, man. Exactly. Just appreciate it. Live in the moment. This
Well,
game
Scott, I think
Sunday.
you should announce what we got going on tomorrow. I got to wrap it up here, unfortunately.
Okay, no worries. Yeah. So we're gonna have Joe Valerio back on the show tomorrow at 6:00. We're doing a special championship week bonus edition of the show. So we'll break into the Bengals. Yeah, we'll give his an expert analysis of the Bills game and the Bengals game. We'll get his thoughts on what how he sees these games, especially the one coming up. I'm interested to see what he thinks about this Bengals team. But from a guy that played in the league, from a guy that's familiar with playing in big games. I mean, the guy played in the AFC Championship game with Joe Montana and the Miracle at Mile High, the shootout against John Elway. I mean, games don't get bigger than that right there. So we'll be back tomorrow, 6:00 with Joe Valerio. Appreciate everybody that's jumped in. Doug, Carol. Does that say Virginia Chiefs fan? Is that what that is? I can't really see the name
I
on
thought
it.
it said that too, but it looks like it says Vachiefin.
All right. Well, appreciate you jumping in,
Yeah.
sending comments, sending
Rock
those
on.
questions in. If you haven't already, click that like and subscribe button. It would mean a lot to us. We would be forever in debt to you for helping out the channel. Follow us on all of our social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Nick's going to put some videos up there. Like I said, we got some video of the game-winning touchdown from Travis Kelce on the Twitter.
Yeah.
There we go. Nice. Good to have you in.
Happy to have
the
you.
show. Really
Yeah.
appreciate having you in. Thanks so much for the comments. So much more fun when we get some other folks in here. We got race cars back in here. Excellent show. Thanks for the kind words. We appreciate that. And again, we'll be back tomorrow at 6:00. And until then, let's go Chiefs.
Let's go, Chiefs!